Australian professors are losing their jobs very fast. This includes teachers and even people with PhDs. Things are changing drastically, and they are changing really fast in the Australian landscape, especially in the education sector. And this is due to a number of reasons which I want to talk about in this particular video. If you love to learn these reasons, then sit back and enjoy. Hello everyone, my name is Ikechi Kukalo and I'm a current PhD student in Griffith University. I have to talk about this because it has been a trending issue for quite some time, and it's also going to be a very informative video for those of you who are planning to come to Australia in 2025, or those of you who have already started putting out your applications, or maybe you are actually hoping to do that by next year. So a lot has been going on since the Australian government brought in the new rules in July 2024 about the changes in the student visa stuff, and this has really changed a lot of things in the universities, because I'm very sure of these changes because I'm in a university, so I can see how these changes affect universities. Now, the government is trying to curtail the number of students that come to Australia to study, and their main reason for doing this is, number one, to control migration rate. They feel that more the number of migrants, then it's going to be affecting the economy or increasing inflation, and most especially it's causing housing crisis. So that is why they decided to trim it down, and it's really hard now to get the student visa. This had a ripple effect, of course, in the universities, because many of these universities, even though they get money from the federal government, but they also sustain themselves by money that comes in from the international student sector. Imagine the number of students that are coming from a country like China. China, they have a lot of money, they bring in a lot of students to study, they pay this money to Australian universities, and in turn the universities make money, pay staff salaries, do a lot of things, research and stuff. So when the government decided to reduce this, of course it affected these other parts, this part of funding the lecturers or paying their salaries and maintaining stuff. So that is why several issues have started arising since the government enacted those changes. And one of them is that staff members have started losing their job. In universities like the Australian National University, which is very popular, in fact here we call it the Harvard of Australia, I think over 50 lecturers have lost their jobs. They have been retrenched because of lack of funding. Even in my university here, we have a lot of people who have also lost their jobs. I mean, their research was stopped. And then I think there are some other universities that have the same issue, although I haven't really taken time to research to know the specific number or specific percentage of staff members that were retrenched, or those whose research were stopped due to this current issue. So it kind of makes us to wonder or reflect on the continuity or the ability of the government to continue with this program, or with this stuff they say they want to cut down the student visas and stuff, because now it's beginning to affect the universities. But then another way to look at it is that universities are also doing away with courses that don't really attract a whole lot of students. Let's say in a university they have a department called music, and in the music department they only have like 5 students a year or 10 students a year, right? So that department, of course, is going to have the head of department, it's going to have like the lecturers and just the normal stuff, a lot of academic and non-academic staff members. So what happens is that these people are also being paid their salaries and stuff. So what universities are doing now is that they are now removing those departments they feel are redundant, or they don't have many students to fund them. So they are trying to remove those departments entirely so they can focus on the ones that have more students. So the purpose of making this video is also to inform you that just want to come study in Australia, that a lot of things have changed. Things are really changing. So it's not enough to just want to come to Australia to study, because when you come to Australia to study without having a clear path of what you want to study, then you might actually be caught in this crossfire, and then it can affect you in a very big way. That is why it's very important to check for courses that are, number one, high in demand when you graduate, number two, courses that have more people interested in doing them. Because when you have many people interested in doing a particular course, then it makes it more difficult for that kind of course to be scrapped. So that's why you don't need to look for courses that are not, maybe you feel that it's going to be easier for you to do, but those courses are not very popular. I mean, a lot has been changing, and I feel it's just important to put it out there for those who are planning on coming to Australia, for them to also learn, for them to also have this information in order to make better informed decisions. Things were not this way when I came, So I mean, even when I came, I know it was like a little bit easier to come to Australia as a student, but since things are getting tighter and tighter, and apart from this year, I think we are still going to see like more restrictions in the future. And the problem is that it's not just Australian universities that are doing this now, or maybe the Australian government, because the Australian border is now more difficult to, come into Australia now. Other countries like Canada and US, of course, we know now that Republicans have taken charge in US. We are going to notice things like this more in US. Like, I mean, it's just going to be more difficult to migrate to US now. So amongst other countries, so that is why it's a time for reflection for people who are intending to come to study abroad. It doesn't mean that it's impossible to come study or even to get a job in these universities that are retrenching staff. The thing is, I even have a friend who just got a job in one of these big universities that are still retrenching staff members. So it's not about that, okay, this is happening. The thing is that these things, they are happening and we know they are happening, but how can we um, take advantage of what is happening now? Because it's just like in a very, very bad economy, there are still people who are living very well in a bad economy. There are still people who are surviving during war times. There are still people who are living very well during war times. Take it or leave it. So that is just how this life is. So I think it's important for you to reflect. Is it time for you to think about the decision you want to make, the course you want to study, why you want to study the course, for you to also refine your approach and for you to also know what is currently happening in the Australian landscape, not just in the Australian landscape, in the global landscape, in the Western countries, about the need for them to control migration. So I think that's where I'm going to stop this video for now. So please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you guys here next week, bright and early. Yeah, bye.